Alrighty, let's get our heads right here on a Friday morning. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Throw-In with Justin. That's myself. It is a Friday, January the 6th, 2023. As I get all the microphones presetting ready to go, get excited to wrap up another week. Want to apologize for a couple of absences back on Wednesday and Thursday, as unfortunately had a long night Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, ended up going taking a trip to the emergency room. Not for me, but everything's still doing well. Everything's doing okay. Had a long night, didn't quite sleep. I was like, I'm not gonna go put on a program after only having an hour and a half of sleep and being up for 24 hours prior to that. And then Thursday, just kind of waking up, not quite, feeling well, really exhausted, kind of catching up on the sleep. So ended up not doing a show on Wednesday and Thursday, kind of missed out over the week. A lot of things that we have to now kind of reset, regroup, come back at the beginning of the at the end of the week to kind of reset you guys for the beginning of next week. But I thought Monday and Tuesday, getting back into the regular routine of the week, getting into the new year. Monday was kind of sketchy. It wasn't sketchy. It was more of a just trying to get back into the routine. See how today plays us. Tuesday, I felt a lot better about the program. Kind of bummed because whenever you have yourself a good program, a good 2 hours, you kind of want to kick off and get yourself going on another, for the next couple of days. And then I got shut down Wednesday and Thursday, trying to come back today. Woke up this morning, felt pretty good to come out here and put on a program for you guys. I guess I'm still kind of just waking up, so hopefully give me a segment or two and we'll get right into the swing of things. A lot of sports going on this weekend. Friday Night SmackDown kicks off tonight. We're gonna talk about everything that's going to come up with this year on SmackDown. Charlotte Flair, new SmackDown Women's Champion. We talked about earlier this week. Questions about Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. I want to know from you guys exactly how, what should you think, or what do you think the 2023 season should hold for the Bloodline, for Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn lost last Friday. I remember back with the last episode of SmackDown, where John Cena returns, teams up with Kevin Owens, and now we kind of head into the new year. The Bloodlines had a incredible run in 2023. We'll dive deep into, are they still relevant? Are they still fresh? And personally, in my opinion, they're kind of, wishy. But one thing that I noticed last year, the most significant part of the success that the Bloodlines had last year is being able to reinvent and being able to add to their family. Obviously, Solo Sikoa is Bloodline with the Usos, with Roman Reigns, and he fits that perfect bill. And as of lately, he's been portraying more himself, a lot of images as to the late Umaga, and I think people enjoy that. They define Solo Sikoa as that person to keep everyone in check. Well, a major factor to the success that the Bloodlines had this past year, and be free, be willing to disagree with me if you want to, has to come through Sami Zayn, who has really stepped up, and he seems to each and every year be able to step up and take the challenge, take the call, and for him to be able to fall into the bloodline, being that outcast, being and working so hard to be welcomed, not just from the bloodline themselves, but from the WWE universe, because listen, out of any member of the bloodline, Sami Zayn is the most well perceived out of the group. Everyone's behind him. You can't hate him. You can't like him, but you enjoy every time he's out there. And I think that if there's a week or if there's a segment that with the bloodline that doesn't include Sami Zayn, then it wouldn't be carrying on this much. And I think for me, and like I said, this is just my take, my opinion. When it comes down to the bloodline, you got Roman Reigns, who means business. He's the head of the table. You got Solo Sikoa that overlooks matters. You got the Usos that are trying that are just in there for a long run, and then you also have Sami Zayn, who tries to keep things fresh and vibe. And you need that type of group. You need each and every one of them working with each other to not only enjoy themselves, enjoy the run that they have going on, but also to show business and mean business. So we'll talk more about the bloodline and everything that is going to transpire this year, and what our thoughts are going to be for this year. An interesting fact, I know Roman Reigns has taken a different role this year, as the tribal chief, as a new contract was setting upon him. He's taken more of a back seat where he's making now more selective appearances, and he's only competing in selective appearances. And there's already conversations about exactly how Roman Reigns, or what his plan, what the WWE's plan is to keep that title on Roman Reigns as long as possible. And I think I think for me there's mixed controversy there, because there's a part of me that states that, hey, go on and hold this title for the next 3 to 4 years. That's fine by me. But my problem is that every day that you hold this title, Roman Reigns has built himself up significantly. But every day that you hold this title, you're taken away from the remainder of the roster. And I think it works right now because there's really nobody. There's not a large enough roster that can move around and really hold another world title like Roman Reigns has. But one thing that we like to see is Roman being on both SmackDown and Raw. And the one thing that we've also liked to see, in my opinion, in my eyes, I still have not seen enough. It's not like I haven't seen enough of both the United States and the Intercontinental Championship, but I haven't seen the push to where you make those titles as prestigious and as important as the next. So we'll dive a little bit more deeper into that. I want to get to PW Insider. I know I talked about 76 to 100 earlier this week, and I was supposed to wind down yesterday and Wednesday, but because of the absence, I ended up going to push that back, and I'm going to go ahead and be able to push the all 75. And I know that segment's going to be kind of cramped, but I want to just kind of push the PW Insider Top 100 out of the way, review that. I know the plans got mixed up. I'm not going to push it back to next week because I kind of want to move on. So I'm going to wrap that up. That means one segment I'm going to give you 75, 1 through 75 when it comes down to the PW Insider's Top 100. And then the next big thing is week number 18 in the final week of the NFL. As we approach the final week, we get ready for the NFL playoffs. There is a lot that is at stake over the week. And coming into the week, I was shocked to actually come across and figure out the all the scenarios because I thought Philadelphia had their opportunity at clinching the number one seed, clinching the NFC East, and with their loss last week, it wasn't their loss last week against the Saints makes the NFC East much more intense to coming up, to Dallas being playing in Washington, Philadelphia playing in New York. So not only you don't have the number one seed locked in, you don't have the division locked in. And for a team like the Eagles, who have played so well all season long, it's kind of shaping up to be a better division. A lot of implication for the AFC East yet. Patriots, knocking off the Dolphins in the wild card. There's more wild card, and there's now scenarios. Big game coming up on Saturday, tomorrow night, is going to be the AFC Championship, in my opinion. I really, really love the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars matchup. And I'm more favored towards the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence making the playoffs after 2 years in the NFL. And I'm going to say that because, I think a lot of people, I don't know, a lot of people are shocked to see Tennessee back in the South competing for a title shot. Maybe I think a lot of people expected them to walk in easier, but at the beginning of the year, I'm talked about how Tennessee is kind of on the verge of rebuilding themselves, reinventing themselves. And the only reason why Tennessee is really up there is because Houston doesn't have a football team. They're at hit rock bottom. Jacksonville still trying to get themselves figured out, and they only have a quarterback. And then the Colts, they pick up Matt Ryan halfway through the season. I had a little bit of faith. I put a little bit out there into them, and they kind of just burned me off. So we'll discuss all the scenarios, a lot of the implications, a lot of how the weekend's going to go down. Cincinnati Bengals are going to take on the Baltimore Ravens to wrap up the season. And I'm intrigued. I'm excited to see exactly how this game or how the Bengals are going to approach this game. One thing to keep in mind, because Buffalo's at home to New England and Cincinnati is home to Baltimore and everything that I acquired earlier this week, is to see the state that these players are heading into the week off of a short week. You'd figure that after a Monday night game, you come into practice on Tuesday and you start, hey, let's focus in on Sunday. Well, both Bills and Bengals have not really taken a lot of practice time Tuesday, Wednesday, even into Thursday. And so now we have 2 days to prep, and I'm more worried for the safety of these players. When you don't have enough, the practices are there for a reason. If you don't have enough practice time, preparation, if your mental state is still not clear heading into the season, the last thing I want going into week 18, heading into the playoffs, knowing that, you could put all the implications aside, all the first seeds, congratulations, Bengals won the division, whatever. It doesn't matter. But the mental state can honestly ruin a team, causing injuries and causing much more problems than success. So something to kind of keep a lookout. I'm a little worried. I'm gonna be looking into this weekend with an open mind, and gonna hopefully everyone just stays safe and plays just a solid football game. Um, and yet again, hey, you go back into Paycor Stadium after everything that happened on Monday, and you're kind of like, all right, what's going on? How do you handle yourself? So there's a lot going there. All right, so we have a pretty. I want to say we have a pretty impactful show. We got a lot of things going on, a lot of things that we want to keep up throughout get you guys ready for the weekend. Football, wrestling, all basketball updates, getting you guys ready for the NCAA college football playoff championship. That is Monday as well, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But we're kind of wrapping up the week, get you guys ready for the weekend, and everything that you need to know, and everything that's coming up. So, you guys sit tight. We're gonna take our first break in the first time out of the program. We'll come back and we'll get ourselves rolling. You guys are listening to the Throw In with Justin. That's me. Right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty. Let's get our heads right here on a Friday morning. Thank you guys. Welcome back to the Throw In here. Want to do just a little cleanup maintenance here on a Friday morning before we really get ourselves underway. I want to give a shout out to StreamYard Studios, proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel, where you can create your podcast, YouTube videos, host virtual business meetings, conduct interviews. For more information, check out StreamYard.com. Also want to give a shout out to Spreaker. You guys are watching us live, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Thank you guys. But I think the most important thing is that every day after this program, we upload our podcast on audio. And you can take us and download us wherever you guys go. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, you name it. If it's an audio platform that you listen to podcasts, music, whatever, Spotify, download it, right? The Throw In. Download the Throw In. Listen to us. Take us on the road. Don't miss a single episode. And stay connected. Stay up to date. That is also thanks to Spreaker, Spreaker.com, for more information. All right. It is a Friday morning, kind of just getting ourselves warmed up here and kind of wrapping ourselves for a full week. Like I said, kicking things off brand new, relaunching at the beginning of the week. Monday was kind of, back and forth, on and off. It was trying to get back into the swing of things. And that's what I was looking towards on Friday. But, so that was pretty rocky. Then we went back into Tuesday, and Damer Hamlin and everything that happened on Monday Night Football kind of just unwinded, and we kind of took the day slow. And I felt more confident and more consistent with what I was doing on the program on Tuesday. Like, then my absence on both Wednesday and Thursday, coming back here, wanting to wrap up a week, and I am, I'm there. I'm ready. I'm kind of more maybe checked out for the weekend, ready to go. It's kind of been more of a longer weekend, so but we have still a lot of things, we have a lot of things that we got to continue talking about. And I guess one of my questions earlier this week with the significance of the injury that that was sustained a couple of days ago, was that how do we continue to move on, knowing what has happened on Monday? And I think that's something for me that's been pondering, because I mean, when you go turn on a sports, show, you go turn on the local news, that's the only thing that's being covered 90% of the programs. So when you're trying to figure out, all right, yes, this is there's an importance to it. You want to stay on top of it and be the first to report, to educate people, to update people about what everything that is unfolding throughout the next couple of days. It is also important that, hey, life doesn't, life still moves on. Well, for the Bills and for the Bengals, what do we know is that there has not this game has been that was supposed to be played on Monday, that took place for about a half a quarter on Monday, has been officially canceled. They're going to mark this down as a tie, which means that the Cincinnati Bengals have clinched the NFC North. Now, a clinch is a clinch, and the circumstances that played into effect on Monday was, if the Bengals beat the Bills, they've clinched. If not, they would head into week number 18 with the Ravens, and the winner will clinch the North. And listen, the Bengals know the amount of success that they've had last season, having some sort of home field advantage heading into the playoffs. They sure would like to have that happen again. Now, there's a very good chance that Ravens and Bengals may meet each other in the wild card series again in about a week and a half from today. But but the circumstances on Monday played out. Now, we're also talking about getting number one seeds. Now, a lot of this is contrary, is irrelevant when it comes down to someone's personal well-being, right? And we've already talked about, we've addressed that heavily on Tuesday. That when it comes down to someone's well-being, safety, none of this matters and out of effect. And this is where we have to put ourselves aside, get ready for the weekend, because NFL week, although the Bills and the Bengals are canceled, they're not going to play. It's considered as a tie and a game played. We still have to wait for week number 18. And so now what we have is the Bills home to the Patriots, and the Ravens on the road taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, with the Bengals already clinching the NFC North, I think, one of the questions going into this weekend was, how are they going to approach this weekend? Are they going to sit a lot of their starters out, getting themselves healthy and ready for the wild card weekend to whoever they have to face next week? Knowing that the game between the Bills and Bengals aren't played, knowing that the Bengals have clinched the NFC North, there is now a new element that we have to start paying attention to, especially for these two teams, and especially if you're the Bengals. We're going to get back on note to the Bengals. With everything that happened on Monday, with the lack of amount of practice that was presented back on Tuesday, Wednesday, part of Thursday, now on a Friday, on a short week, Friday, Saturday, trying to regroup for Sunday's football game. I get it. These guys are professional athletes. They're in the midst of a season. I know that they're conditioning for the postseason for January football. But it is a very crucial week, in my opinion, that both teams, especially the Bengals, need to be precautious about how they approach week number 18. As I mentioned, there was a lot of people, a lot of players that were torn, devastated, weren't in the mental state after Monday night, heading into Tuesday, heading into Wednesday. Thursday there was a sigh of relief, but it took 3 days, rightfully so, for people to finally get a chance to breathe and now kind of start resetting their clock in their heads and saying, hey, we got a football game this Sunday. And as much as we want to continue, and we will continue to observe and support everything that happened earlier this week, we got to get ready to play some football, because there's not a whole nother team in that locker room that can go out, instead of the starters, instead of the players that were there on Monday, they can go play this game against the Ravens. And although you have clinched the division, although you have that home field advantage, and like I said, fighting for the second seed in the AFC is probably irrelevant right now to this to this franchise, which is fine, because no matter what, you still have home field advantage coming in next week, and they still play. But now it's about how well can you rest your starters, and how well can your mental mind state be coming into this football game Sunday. Because the last thing you want, because listen, I played football in high school, and the one thing I could tell you is that if you're not all the way there on game day, if you're not focused, if you're not going 100%, and you're not mentally there, physically there, emotionally there, invested into that game, there is a high percentage chance of something going wrong. And the last thing that I want to see for both franchises is seeing someone else get hurt, missing the remainder of the postseason because they weren't ready to play Sunday's game. There's nothing that we can do about it. Sunday's game is still Sunday's game. But we want to continue to figure out where players lie, and hopefully everyone has the right mindset moving forward. I'm more worried about Buffalo, because Buffalo has a little bit more to play for. See, earlier this, they're trying, they clinched the division, but how much is important for them to win to gain that number one seed in the AFC? The AFC is looking pretty determining to clinch that number 7 spot in the wild card. You got the Jets over in Miami, and you got New England over in Buffalo. And as of this morning and heading into the weekend, New England currently replaced Miami last week in the wild card spot. Patriots win this week, and they clinch a wild card spot. Miami wins and Patriots lose, then Miami will have a wild card spot. So, but in all the midst of everything, all right, if the Steelers are still on the outside looking in, they need the Patriots and the Dolphins to lose. And if the Steelers could win, which, by the way, they're facing the Browns on Sunday, then the Steelers could hit that wild card spot. I think, we're talking about the division for a moment. Steelers and Browns. We'll cut to a break. We'll come back. We'll finish talking about this. How the NFL looks for week number 18. But the Browns and the Steelers are going to do battle now. Take away any playoff implications, and you have yourself sitting in a scenario of a key important game in NFL this Sunday with the Browns and the Steelers, all because of the rich history that the Steelers have going on for them. They're in jeopardy this Sunday, heading into the game, knowing that if they lose, this is going to be the first season in about 20 years where they have had a losing record season. So let me just paint this picture for you here for a second. So we're taking for the AFC North. Bengals and Ravens this Sunday, Browns and Steelers this Sunday. Mike Tomlin tries to avoid the his first ever coaching season as a losing record. That can be determined, as well as the Ravens trying to hold on. I think both the Ravens and the Bengals are just going to try to get through this week with minimum. It's going to start playing out next week in the wild card spot. I will get you more of the breakdown of how these pitchers start rolling out, what can happen. Tomorrow, Jaguars and the Titans do battle to declare the winner of the AFC South. But the Jaguars, if they lose, they still have an opportunity to make it into the postseason as a wildcard team. We'll explain to that scenario and much more. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Throw-In. Take a break. We'll be back. We'll wrap up this week here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, 6:40 here on the Throw-In. Thank you guys for tuning in on a Friday morning. Take you guys up until 8 a.m. Wrap up the week on this kind of half week of the Throw-In. And we'll be back Monday to get you guys ready for the NFL playoffs. And, when we talk about the playoffs, we've had a great, I want to just first start off saying we had a great sports weekend when it came down to the New Year's. And I mentioned this at the beginning of the week. I thought that this past weekend in sports, from Thursday night football, even leading up to Monday, because there was other things going on, such as Monday Night Raw, and although there was a halt that was brought to the world of sports on Monday night, it was still a fantastic week. Great way to end the weekend, and great way to end the year. Great way to begin the year also for 2023. And there's just a lot to unfold, a lot to unravel. And one thing that I really will say on behalf of all this is that if our 2023 playoffs are anything like how the college football playoffs have been between TCU and Michigan and between Ohio State and Georgia back on Saturday, and all the other football games that were played in between then coming up this Monday is going, between TCU and Georgia. I'm a little worried about how that game is going to turn out, and we'll talk in depth on Monday. But this is also another stepping stone, and hey, let's set the example, let's set the paveway for what the NFL is to be, which is supposed to be a pretty damn good football year in the postseason. Bengals are back into the postseason. I'm excited. Now, as I mentioned, we can finally rest. We can finally sit back. Not only yesterday, we can sit back and we can breathe because Damar Hamlin's condition is now improving. Hey, thank goodness. I've been saying prayers each and every day. I hope that Damar Hamlin makes a full recovery. Now, I don't know, and I'm not going to go speculate or predict about his remainder of his career, if he could get back into football or if he's going to do anything else. All I want is to see a healthy Damar Hamlin. And I think both the Bills and both the Bengals can move forward easier heading into the postseason, knowing that every day that we know that Damar Hamlin is getting better. but football still has to be played on Saturday and Sunday. We kick things off with Saturday football. Raiders and Chiefs. And, listen, that's going to be a fun game to watch. If the Chiefs can win, they will go ahead and, I guess, continue and clinch that number one seed and, kind of just slip right in there. I don't know if, if it really matters to me. It doesn't anymore. Whether the Bills, the Chiefs, or the Bengals would have got in, it would have been nice if the Bengals had that opportunity, because I'm sure that they could use another week. But the way I will also think about this postseason and the wild card game, and for the Bengals and for the Bills, use this as a distraction, use this as a motivation to get through everything that has conspired over this past week. So Raiders and Chiefs on Saturday, not a big game, but the big game on Saturday is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the Tennessee Titans. Now, Tennessee, okay, I'm not very happy with Tennessee. I'm not even rooting for the Titans to win this game. I want the Jaguars to win. All right, beginning of the season, I wanted the Colts to win. I thought Matt Ryan, with how close the Colts got to the playoffs last year, it came down to week number 18 where the Colts lose. The Colts lost, and they lost their playoff spot to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want, um, this all projects. Let me reset. Like I said, we had a little malfunction. StreamYard kind of froze for a minute, and I had to get it back on. So I don't know exactly how much you missed. It still says live broadcasting. So we're just going to kind of pick up where we left off at and talking about the AFC South. Now, what I know is that the Titans aren't the greatest football team in the South, in the AFC South, at least to I believe. I know the Texans aren't that there. All right. We expected there, and they're not. And I also mentioned, and I also made an emphasis earlier in the football season, that Trevor Lawrence needed to have a breakout year. I talked about this for both the Bears and Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence. The second year with an NFL team as a quarterback is the second or third year are usually the two that you really need to make a statement and put your mark down in history to determine if you are actually worthy, are going to be an NFL quarterback, maybe be a backup quarterback. I expected Tennessee to kind of let's try this again. I guess I'm keep cutting in and out. I apologize, you guys. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties on a Friday morning with the throwing. It's kind of cutting in and out of the stream, so I'm keeping and paying attention to that. If I have trouble to this morning, I apologize. I guess things just don't want to work out for us at the end of the day. But as I was mentioning, and we're just going to try to do our best to continue with this program, listen, I don't think I think we expected Tennessee to kind of take a step back. Yet, I still, although Tennessee expected to be the better team in the AFC, still, I thought the Colts had an opportunity with how close they were at the wild card to kind of run away. They added a quarterback, and there you go. I thought that was what they needed. Apparently, that's not the case. So we sit down on Saturday. Jacksonville Jaguars has their opportunity to go back into the postseason. They have their opportunity to take with Trevor Lawrence, but they need a win. As a matter of fact, who's more important? Tennessee needs that victory over Jacksonville more than anyone else. Okay, if Tennessee lose, then they're done. Flat out simple, in restore. But this is how the playoffs in the AFC work. You see, the only division that has not been selected is the South. And we'll determine that tomorrow night between the Jaguars and the Titans. And if somehow the Titans can find a way to win and beat the Jaguars, and Jaguars go on to lose, their hopes are still very slim, but they're still hopeful. They need the Browns to beat the Steelers on Sunday. They need the Bills to beat the Patriots on Sunday, and they need the Jets to beat the Patriots. If the Jaguars lose, and the Steelers, the Patriots, and the Dolphins all lose as well, Jaguars could be that 7th spot in the AFC wild card. All right. Right now, New England Patriots hold that 7th seed in the wild card. If the Patriots could hold on and beat the Buffalo Bills, end of story, playoff picture is already in place. If the Dolphins win and the Patriots lose, that means Buffalo are going to have to find something to get themselves out of their rut. That means Buffalo is going to have to find a way to win, maybe make week number 18 a dedication game. But if Miami wins, New England loses, Miami replaces New England. If the Steelers beat the Browns, both the Dolphins and Patriots lose, Steelers go in. You guys look, I know it's a lot going on, and after talking about this, I even see it. I'm like, gosh, this is a lot. This is confusing to me. But trust me, when it comes Monday, we'll have a playoff picture for you guys because it would all be said and done. I want to visit the NFC real quick before we end the hour, get back to things. I apologize for the cut in and out for the last couple of minutes, but I wanted to cover the NFC wild card because currently Seattle holds that 7th spot wild card, and this is just going to be a little bit more simple than anything. Packers win, they're in the wild card. They automatically take that 7th seed. If the Packers lose, okay, and they're facing Detroit, okay, Detroit kind of overthrew Washington, eliminating them last week. But if Packers and Aaron Rodgers lose, and listen, it's been a run for their money, and Detroit wins, let me put it this way. If Packers lose, Seattle wins, and they're facing the Rams. If Seattle wins and the Packers lose, Seattle's in. If Seattle loses and Lions beat the Packers, then the Lions are in the wild card. It's a 3-way race. Like I said, I know it's a little complicated. I know it's complex, and especially trying to explain the stories. But trust me, NFL weekend number 18, there's a lot of playoff implications. I will start off. If you're looking to watch football games, I know I am this weekend, Saturday night, Jaguars, Titans. That's where to start off at. I know the AFC South is not a big picture. I know there's not a lot writing on it, but yet again, there is. All right. Jaguars, Tennessee. All right. If Tennessee wins AFC South, then we move to Sunday because Jaguars lost. They're holding on by a thread. All right. You want to go look for the Bills and Patriots game. Now, I'm going to tell you and be honest with you about that. I'm not going to make any predictions. But if I'm the Bills, knowing that you have the AFC East, knowing that you're heading into the wild card weekend, possibly a victory could get you into the number 1 seed. But I wouldn't focus about that this weekend. Well, my weekend is going to focus about with everything acquired with DeMar Hamlin back on Monday is, hey, let's just play a simple football game. Maybe go ahead and dedicate this game. But, what I would like to do is I would like to dedicate the the playoffs that the Bills are going to be in next week to DeMar Hamlin. I think that's fair, right? And I know that there's going to be tribute and, to him this weekend, probably around the NFL world, respectfully doing so. But my eyes are saying, hey, the Bills, you're coming off of an awkward week where you didn't win, you didn't lose, you didn't really play. It's more of an emotional week. You're getting ready to play the Patriots. Yeah, you want to win at home against the Patriots in the final game of the season. But my eyes are set for football in the playoffs. Get yourselves mentally, emotionally ready. If you got to rest your starters, get them ready for wild card weekend because that is where it matters the most. Because the Bills are always that team the past several years who have been talked about time and time again, how they could get there, how they could get the job done. Josh Allen is one of the elite quarterbacks right now in this era, and you got to get over that hump because every time that you face the Chiefs, you can't get over that hump. So you got to find a way to get over that hump. So a lot riding on there. A lot of games going on. Dallas is in Washington. All right. Eagles against New York. If the Eagles win, they win the NFC East. If the Eagles lose and the Cowboys win the division championship. See how easily that could honestly change? And then let's not forget about the Ravens and the Bengals coming up Sunday at Paycor Stadium. I want to be honest with you. It's a little, I want to say awkward, but it's going to be a little tense. You're probably going to be able to feel it in the atmosphere on Sunday with how everything acquired on Monday is going to take a week effect. I'm still, like I mentioned at the beginning of the program, it's still kind of difficult to sit here and want to continue. And because, I don't want to sit here and forget about everything that has unfolded with everything that happened on Monday night. DeMar Hamlin, that took a couple of days. Especially in this area. I think if you're doing a program in LA, I don't know. I personally feel it's much difficult here in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, to handle and talk about sports without having not to talk about DeMar Hamlin and everything that happened on Monday against the Bills. And I'm sure that in Buffalo and in all of New York, it's difficult to talk about, hey, the game coming up on Sunday against the Patriots, then not, because everything that's happened with DeMar Hamlin. And, I don't know how easy it is. I watch sports, Sports Center, I watch FS1, I watch Fox, sports. And it seems to me that they just find it much easier just to continue talking about sports, and it's just another story. But I think what we've witnessed is beyond another story. I think this is just, for me, I think the world is still kind of at a pause, at a halt, because of this, scenario. And we had to find a way. Maybe at least I had to find a way to move on and move past everything that happened back on Monday night. So NFL Week 18, we will try to reset our clocks. When we come back on Monday and we talk about the NFL, we will be locked and focused and ready to go for Wild Card Weekend, which is next week. All right, our number one's wrapped up. Our week's almost over. Let's take a break. Let's step aside, and when we come back, let's transition because we still have some PW Insider Top 100 still to come. Stay tuned. Thank you guys for tuning into the Throw-In right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, hour number 2 here on the Throw-In. Thank you guys for tuning in to the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. If you guys are listening and watching us live on YouTube, thank you. I appreciate it. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Please be involved. Comment down. Get involved in the conversations that we are having. Weigh in your thoughts and your opinions about what's going on and the stuff that I'm talking about. If the stuff that you want to weigh in, you want me to discuss and give you my thoughts about, let me know. But if you guys are also watching us on Facebook or Twitter, getting up in the morning, getting ready for work, thank you. Welcome. Hit that like button. Head on over to YouTube. Weigh in. Let me know that you're watching. And have yourself a great day. Have yourselves a great weekend. It's okay if you guys ain't watching us live. If you guys are downloading us and taking us on the road, thanks to Spreaker, you guys can download us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, anywhere basically you get audio platforms, streaming services. So we thank you as well. It's been a rough week, like I mentioned. I had was in the emergency room, not because of me, but on Tuesday night, took well into the morning before we went out there, before we left. So I just was not mentally ready for a show. That's why I didn't do a program on Wednesday. And on Thursday, I also I woke up, I just was not feeling well. And I just didn't want to, I was like, this is going to be a struggle. So I knew I had to come back on here on a Friday, wrap up a sports week, getting you guys ready into the weekend, and then we will go ahead and return on Monday morning, 6 a.m. I love the mornings. I mean, besides waking up at 4:30 in the morning to get up here and do a program that maybe the rest of the world isn't open up, because if you're listening to us on the West Coast, it's still only 4:05. Sorry, I had to play that. But kind of went off to a slow start, and then started filling into things, and it's been a rough week in the NFL, and we're going to try to continue to move on. And then I had a little bit of streaming complications. Hopefully that finished. That took care of that business. Here, and now we could just move on. Hey, like I said, NFL week number 18, the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens set the playoff. Both teams have clinched the playoffs in the AFC North. And the Bengals have clinched the division I guess an unfortunate thanks to the incident that happened with Damar Hamlin on Monday that caused the Bills and Bengals game to be immediately not postponed, but suspended. And the NFL doesn't seem like doesn't have the interest, which is fine, this late in the season to try to make the game up. It'd kind of be mostly unnatural to make it up because, realistically, what is going to end up doing more harm than damage, not giving enough teams their proper rest time that is required between games. And like I said, I mean, as a moderate Bengal fan, because I've been living in the northern Kentucky area, about 15 minutes away from Paycor Stadium, being a moderate fan to the Bengals, and hey, this is kind of a walk-in. Let's go ahead and take advantage of what's given, because now, the mental state that we have to be ready for this Ravens game. I know both heading into today, that this weekend's game, both teams are going to probably try to rest, their starters. I know, and especially it's important for the Bengals because, the mentality state. I feel bad for the Bills because, yeah, they have clinched the East, but they're going to be playing a team in the Patriots on Sunday who needs the win to make it to the playoffs. And, unfortunately, I don't think Bill Belichick and I don't think that the Patriots are going to take it any easier than any other team, for the Bills. And so the last thing that I want to see is that, yeah, like I mentioned, in the last hour, that both teams are, um, you know, both teams, there's a mental state that they have to mentally get ready for. So here's a last rundown here. Right now, the NFC looks like here in the playoff standings, the Eagles sit at number 1. They're 13-3, followed by San Francisco, Minnesota, and Tampa Bay, who clinched their division last week after a win against Carolina. Dallas holds the 5th seed, as well as the Giants in the 6th. Those have been clinched. But the only team that is still problematical right now is Seattle. So right now, just one more walkthrough here as we move along. The number 1 seed is still open if San Francisco can beat the Arizona Cardinals and the Eagles can lose. Then the 49ers will go ahead and have that number 1 seed. Now, I want to try to make this as simple as possible. If Philadelphia wins, they clinch the number 1 seed and they clinch the NFC East. If the Dallas Cowboys win and the Eagles lose, then the Eagles will be the number 5th seed in the division, and the Cowboys will be number 1 in the wild card. I apologize. Eagles will be the 5th spot in the wild card. Dallas will win the East and be the number 1 spot unless the 49ers win. Then the 49ers will be the number 1 spot, as the Cowboys will be the number 2 spot. So out of those 3 scenarios that for teams who are already clinched, I don't think maybe seeding works, is more important right now. Let's get into the playoffs because the Seahawks currently hold the number 7 spot in the wild card. If the Packers win, let me tell you what, the Packers win, the Packers go into the playoffs. It's that simple. But if the Packers lose and Seattle loses, the Detroit Lions will go into the playoffs, and Seattle wins and the Packers lose, Seattle goes into the playoffs. That is the NFC wild card. Over there in the AFC, Kansas City has that spot, number 1, Bills, followed by Bengals and Jaguars. Jaguars can clinch the South tomorrow night against the Titans. Winner takes the division. The Chargers and the Ravens are the other 2 teams that have clinched the wild card spot, and sitting currently at number 7 is the New England Patriots. Now, the Patriots beat the Bills on Sunday. The Patriots will clinch the wild card spot. If they lose and the Dolphins win, Dolphins will clinch the wild card spot. If the Patriots and the Dolphins win and the Steelers can win, avoiding a season under 500, then Pittsburgh could clinch. But then if Tennessee beats the Jacksonville loses tomorrow night, and then Patriots, Miami, and Pittsburgh all loses their game, Jacksonville could be that 7th spot in that wild card. I know that's a little bit more confusing. Head on over to the CBS Sports app or head on over to NFL.com to kind of get your rundown. All right, talking about sports, XFL is back. XFL and ESPN has announced their 2023 schedule. We got 43 games will be featured through ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, and FX beginning February 18, 2023. That is a Saturday. Kicking things off at 3 p.m. on ABC will be Vegas Vipers taking on Arlington's Renegades. And then at 8:30, we have on ESPN and FX is Orlando Guardians taking on Houston Roughnecks. And then check them out on Sunday on ABC at 3 p.m. on the 19th of February. St. Louis Blackhawks taking on San Antonio Brahmas. And then at 8 p.m. ESPN Seattle Sea Dragons taking on DC Defenders. That's all coming your way. XFL to another season. Excuse me. Coming around the league here, some league updates and news. Kentucky, after beating LSU back on Tuesday, they are heading over and facing Alabama at 1 p.m. on Saturday in NBA basketball showdown, as well another Saturday event for Louisville Cardinals after losing to Syracuse 70-69 back on Tuesday. They'll be hosting Wake Forest at 3 p.m. in daytime basketball. We're heading over to Sunday. Ohio Buckeyes moving to 10-4 on the season after dropping the number 1 Purdue back on last night, 71-69. They head over to Maryland to take on Maryland at 1 p.m. on Sunday, and then Cincinnati moves to 11-5 after a victory over Wichita State, 70-61 victory. They're hosting Houston at 3 p.m. on Sunday. Some college football action heading your way. Cincinnati Cyclones, some minor league hockey this weekend. It's been all week long waiting for some hockey to play along. Well, hey, you know what? They're hosting the Nailers tomorrow night at 7:30. Want to check them out? It's throwback night. The puck drops at 7:30. And then they will be heading on the road to the Wallies on Sunday for a 5:15 game. I will say, if you guys know where I can actually tune in and watch a live game, maybe online, then please do so. I went to a Cyclones game last year. I loved it. I took my daughter down, my oldest down there, and I really enjoyed the Cyclones game. And I want to head out to another one this year, and I know I will, but it's kind of one of those things where unless you're, I don't really watch a lot of hockey, so get that opportunity to watch hockey a little bit, maybe give me a location. I'll get behind the Cyclones a lot more and all that stuff. All right, let's cut to a break. When we come back, PW Insider. Like I mentioned, I was expected to go through 1 through 100, but I'm only able to go, but because of Wednesday, and Thursday's absent, I couldn't go through 25 through 70 or 26 through 75. So to make that up today, we're going to give you the top 75. It's going to be a rapid, quick and fire, and quick thoughts and opinions. Man, like I said, I don't know how they really honestly come up with this top 100 list. So we'll do all that still to come. Talk to you, get you guys ready for some Friday Night SmackDown and some more things happening this weekend. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll take you up until 8 o'clock here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. All right, 7:19 here on the throw-in. Boy, I'm getting, what I'm hoping to do, and I'm just going to preach out here a little bit. I don't know for certainty exactly how I'm going to pursue this, but I want to I provided a little bit of playoff coverage last week, and I love broadcasting. I love announcing, and I will love to provide some coverage this playoff year. And I think when it comes down to the NFL, playoffs are the time to really cover football. I don't want to take away from what people or for how people cover football, but I've seen it happen all the time on YouTube. I know, if you guys have been following this channel for a while, you guys have seen this happen from, for baseball all the time. And I know I want to do it for baseball in depth for sure. I want to do it more often than not. It's something that, you guys kind of have to kind of put it into your schedule. So hopefully next week I can come up with a game, hopefully 2 games, be committed to it and give you guys some audio coverage of NFL playoffs as they proceed. All right, we transition, heavy sport, getting ourselves into the show. Took us probably, I want to say, it took us probably about an hour to get ourselves going onto the show. Some technical difficulties throughout the live. Hopefully that has been all cleared up, at least until 8 o'clock when I go off and we can enjoy the weekend. What are you guys doing this weekend? You guys watching SmackDown tonight, Roman Reigns. We'll talk about that. Also talk about some, get you guys ready for the NFL, which starts Saturday and Sunday. College basketball, I think. Sports are kind of winding down a little bit. So earlier this week, I started revealing PW Insider's top 100 list for 2022. And, I started off with 76 through 100. I was going to do 25 names and give you my thoughts of where their placement was for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wasn't here Wednesday and Thursday. So I have 75, the top 75 that I'm going to be giving to you today. So I know that's going to kind of ramble off as a lot of names. And we're going to kind of, submit this as a short segment. But I think that this is necessary. I don't want to kind of come in, go into the next week and wrap it up. So I'm going to kind of finish that up today and give you guys my thoughts, my opinions. So bear with me, as this may seem redundant, repetitive, for the time being. I'm going to kick off from 51 to 75 and then give my thoughts, and then 26 to 50, give you my thoughts on that, and then 1 to 25 and give you my thoughts on that. Now, like I mentioned earlier, I really don't know how PW Insider has put this list together. There's some athletes, I think, that, or some superstars, pro wrestlers, whatever you want to call them, that I think deserve to be up higher than most others. And I want to also apologize ahead of time for names that I probably just cannot pronounce. A lot of them are New Japan Pro Wrestling names, so I apologize in ahead of time. Let's just get down to the list here and let's kind of share you what I got. Coming at 51, or coming in at 75 is Trevor Murdoch, followed by the AJ Styles. Malachi Black is at 73. Ilja Dragunov is at 72. Andrade El Idolo is at 71. Alex Shelley is at 70. Tom Lawyer and Mystico, 68. Wardlow's at 67. Laredo Kid, followed by the Edge at 65. Ciampa at 64. Finn Balor. Tetsui Naito is at 62. Gio Shiozaki, 61. Nick Aldis is at 60. Konosuke Takashita is at 59. Kota Ibushi is at 58. Damian Priest, Pac is at 56. Ray Phoenix is at 55. Ricochet, followed by Ricky Starks at 53. Kento Miyahara, 52. And Kai at 51. That is 51 through 75 on PW's Insider's Top 100 of 2022. These are male athletes only. One thing I want to go ahead and just kind of, in that 25-minute minutes, I think it's still very impressive that Trevor Murdoch, through the career that he's had, through the time he's had, I know, listen, he really defended NWA for a time, at least at the beginning. He's a hard NWA guy. And for the time that I've heard him, time that I've witnessed him being up at the forefront of everything, having that feud this year with Matt Cardona, the fact that he's in the top 100, I think, is something incredible. And a matter of fact, Trevor Murdoch, I believe in my opinion, with what he has accomplished this year, he should be sitting at number 75. Andre El Idolo, I want to tell you something about Andrade. I think he's underestimated. He's undervalued. I'm going to be honest with you. I think a lot of guys out of AEW is undervalued. Andrade has had a year. He has so much potential. He could do so much, and especially when you're capable of going from promotion to promotion, because AEW allows athletes to jump over to AAA, and they work alongside other promotions to help their product out. And when you have a great luchador, lucha libre wrestler there in Andrade, and I just don't think that he gets taken. He doesn't give as much credit as he should be given. Now, I don't know why. I don't know how, but he's one of those guys who deserves to be a lot more. And I feel like these wrestling promotions, wrestling companies, AEW has kind of held him back from being up higher on this list. Another point out here, guys like AJ Styles and Edge, I'm gonna get behind. I think these are fair spots for them, just because they're not everyday, athletes. So yet again, when they do come, on that screen and make that appearance, they're impactful. AJ Styles returning to bring back Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. I think that was something special. It brought that extra, emphasis to their return. Same thing as Edge. Listen, that his days are numbered. I've heard it numerous of times that he should just hang it up for entire. If you don't say that about Edge, you should say that about AJ Styles. When they can only come out, 2, 3, handful of times a year to entertain you, then that's it. I think a lot of people maybe expect them to do more. And you know what? That's just, we got to make room for everyone else. All right. Wardlow. One of the things I think out of this 25 list, one of the things I really am very disappointed is Wardlow. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, along with Andrade. These are all guys that probably have great potential, should be pushed more. But their respective brands that they're a part of, wrestling programs, they kind of hold them back a little bit. Wardlow is one of the guys who expected to really break out this year, and he did. He ended up winning, championships, but I don't think it really. Maybe it was too late for him. I don't know why, things didn't go the way they went. Okay. So here's my biggest thing. The storyline of 2022 should have been around Wardlow and MJF. And it should have, and honestly, MJF should have really captured that title a lot sooner than he did. And I get it, it's better late than never. But something that you're going to see this year, that I really think if you don't see this year, it's a waste of promotion, is Wardlow taking on MJF for that AEW World Championship. And as a matter of fact, Wardlow needs to be the one to dethrone MJF from that AEW Championship, because there's still a lot of unfinished business in that department between those two men. And so it would be a shame to sit here and see these two men not continue battle, and especially now for the most prestigious championship in AEW. I mean, Wardlow has made it clear that, CM Punk was the guy on his radar. Well, I mean, MJF's the next perfect thing that Wardlow could possibly be looking towards to capture that AEW World Championship. And I think that would help get him over, because I feel like these TNT championships, TBS championships that he was trying to be a part of, I don't really think that did him any good. As a matter of fact, I think that where he was at the beginning of the year and where he's at now kind of took a few steps back in his career. I'm kind of very disappointed with how AEW pursued Wardlow in 2022. I mean, I know they made a great effort, and I'm going to give them credit for it, but I'm just disappointed because it wasn't well perceived. I don't know if that's AEW's fault, but what they also ended up doing was pushing Wardlow back down to TNT on Friday nights, which, let's face it, not many people watch TNT, and then also push him down to Ring of Honor. And that really didn't quite help him out as much. All right, coming in at number 50, Trish Adora, followed by Trey Miguel, Daniel Garcia, Randy Orton at 47, Shinsuke Nakamura, Darby Allin at 45, Minoru Suzuki at 44. Wheeler Yuta, followed by Jacob Fatu. Um, Psycho Clown is at 41. Eddie Kingston's at 40. El Desperado is at 39. Scorpio Sky, followed by Xavier Woods. Kevin Owens at 36. Uh, Katsuhiko Nakajima is at 32. Bandito, followed by Mike Bailey at number 30. Zack Sabre Jr., followed by Sammy Guevara. Will Ospreay. Braun Breaker is at 26. For the first year that Braun Breaker's made this list, I don't remember him making the list last year. He's at 26. He's that close to me in the top 20. And I think that says something very special. Now, listen, out of hands, he had to take NXT under new conditions, changing the brand's name, changing the color, and everything. He's had to take NXT and carry it on his shoulder for the entire year. After you knew you had changes and everything that was unfolding and unraveling, Braun Breaker took it. He kept NXT alive, and I think that's you can't ask that from anyone else. I don't think anyone else would have done as better as Braun Breaker has done last year. So kudos to him. I want to see him in the WWE this year. I want to see him maybe. I'm still kind of I'm the guy who SummerSlam. All right, if you want to pick an opponent for Roman Reigns to be dethroned from the Universal Championship, Braun Breaker is still a guy on my list, on my radar. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not in the. We sat this entire year and we waited for Braun Breaker because and I get it. WWE did their due diligence. We expected him to come up later. And he came, I think we wanted him to come up sooner. I think a lot of people, there's about 50-50. So he waited a whole year. I think this is a time to bring him up. I mean, he's really filled those shoes accordingly. Will Ospreay. I know lately there's been a lot of social media content between Will and like Seth Rollins with this Forbidden Door. And I don't know if it's just for the Royal Rumble. I hope it's for more. I mean, if Triple H is allowing WWE athletes to have this one those one-time appearances in different promotions, why such as Wrestle Kingdom, for example, why not allow someone to come into WWE? Willie's even offered to come over to WWE, sign a temporary contract to have a feud with Seth Rollins. I think a big bold statement, I'm going to say this right now, a big, bold statement given for the WWE to make this big leap change. Seth Rollins and Will Ospreay at SummerSlam this year. I think, in my opinion, if the WWE is, I know it's not going to happen overnight, and this Forbidden Door isn't something that happens often, but if you really want the WWE to show and they're really willing to take that next step of the whole Forbidden Door criteria, I think, in my opinion, that's the way to do it. Allow Will Ospreay, as much as you could allow other like Shinsuke and, Carl Anderson, whatever, go out and compete at other promotions, especially on a limited time basis under contract. Allow someone to come to the WWE for a match or two or for a few. I think that would do wonders for the WWE. Kevin Owens, another great guy. He's kind of held up Raw for a period of time, along with Seth Rollins. One guy I will tell you I have not seen on this top 100 list that kind of irritates me for why he has not been on the top 100 list is The Miz. The amount of credit that he's worked on with Logan Paul, the unfortunate feud that we did not get a chance to see with John Morrison. I'm very disappointed in not seeing The Miz in this top 100 list. He's another guy I think a lot of wrestlers, a lot of people underestimate, not overlook. And his role in the WWE is kind of more so like AJ Styles. He's more of an older wrestler. He's more of an older competitor. And he still entertains you. He finds new ways of entertaining you and keeping his relevancy. So I don't know why he did not qualify in the top 100. I think The Miz is still a fan favorite. And he should be on the top 100 list here. Shinsuke Nakamura having that match with Great Muta. Darby Allin, congratulations for winning that TNT championship back on Wednesday night. Very heartfelt moment afterwards. Hey, listen, I love when you guys. A lot of people also mention. I'll say this about Darby Allin and Sting that moment on Wednesday night. A lot of people expected Sting to return, turn against them, and for a moment there was probably you're at the edge of your seat. Oh, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Earlier this week, matter of fact, he had an interview on a podcast where he actually went out and stated that he's, listen, he's coming down. He's not going to in his retirement match. He's going to have Darby Allin, and I mean, Sting is probably at the point where give it like another year, maybe no more than 3, that he's going to probably be done. I mean, at least he's already knows where he's at, where he's accepted at, and that's like on his behalf. That's kudos to him and the way he and he knows the way he wants to take himself. He's a very safe worker. He takes, and ever since that injury, he takes everything with precaution, and I think, he doesn't just step into the ring and compete and let, go one-on-one with anyone or get into an altercation with anyone on the AEW roster. It's been very selective, and I think they really know what they're doing when they get into that ring, even if it looks rehearsed or looks sketched. I think that's the importance of keeping Sting's in-ring wrestling career alive. But in all honesty, I really don't. It's hard, as much as we want to see Darby Allin and Sting, and maybe Sting turn against Darby Allin, I don't see that happening at all. So probably maybe best just to cross that off of your list and say, let's forget about it. All right. The top 25 here is with following AC Mack, Alexander Hammerstone, Jay White, Chris Jericho, Moose, Drew McIntyre is at 20, Kenny Omega, Adam Cole's at 18, followed by Seth Rollins, MJF, Hiroshi Tanahashi is at 15, Josh Alexander, Matt Cardona is at 13, John Moxley is at 12, Shingo Takagi, Jonathan Gresham is at 10, Big E's at 9, El Hijo del Vikingo, sorry, apologize for butchering that name, at 8, Bryan Danielson at 7, Cody Rhodes is at 6, Bobby Lashley is at 5, Adam Page is at 4, CM Punk is at 3, Kazuchika Okada is at 2, and Roman Reigns is at 1. Well, hey, listen, number 1 is Roman Reigns, so we'll get into him in our following segment here when we come back from break. But one thing I think needs to be addressed, needs to be concerned, there's a few things, as a matter of fact. Let's just go down the list. Jay White, very much disappointment. I thought she was going to have a bigger year. That's one thing that happens when you sign with AEW, man. I'm going to tell you, you just don't get, unless you're at the top of the list, you're just not there. Jay White was a huge signing, very undervalued, and should be held more. And I guess where we sit a year ago today, these were like breaking news. You got so-and-so coming to AEW. Oh, this is going to be big. This is going to be impactful. Well, let's guess what, you guys. What have they done? Okay, I mean, realistically, what has Bryan Danielson done in AEW that has been so head-hearted and impactful? He's teamed up with John Moxley. He's had a few minor feuds. He's now looking for a AEW World Championship match after being in AEW already. And he has to fight, he has these weird battles. What has he really done? I mean, Kenny Omega takes it. Adam Cole. Adam Cole's a great athlete. What has he done? Where is he at in AEW? Only reason why MJF is there, and listen, I love MJF, but the only reason why he is where he's at is because he's had to actually fight against the company to get what he wants. But what does Jay White has? You go sign a great, I'm going to say a blockbuster move last year. And for what? For him to go off to different promotions and compete just so that you could carry the AEW brand? I don't think so. Just so that he doesn't go over the WWE and his hands get tied? I don't think so. Chris Jericho deserves to be on the top 25 list just because, for the simple fact that he understands his role. He understands where he's at in his career. He understands that, right now all he's doing this is for fun. He doesn't need any titles along with his name to make it anything special. Seth Rollins should be probably up a little bit higher, especially after naming him the workhorse of the year. I mean, I think it's undeniable that he is in there week in and week out. He's definitely embraced it back on Monday. Unfortunately, I don't think Cody Rhodes, other than the big return that back to the WWE that Cody Rhodes has had, yeah, that is still something we talk about today, but I don't think he should be in the top 10 for that. Nonetheless, number 6. Bobby Lashley, he's kind of been in and out. So in my opinion, Seth Rollins should be bigger. Only reason why Bobby Lashley's there, because he's faced Brock Lesnar. Okay, but otherwise, Seth Rollins probably should be a little bit higher. CM Punk should not even be close in the top 25 to the top 50. He's done nothing significant even after winning the AEW World Championship. I think people are just absolutely absurd when it comes down to thinking that Punk deserves to be in the top 25, nonetheless the top 100 when it comes down to wrestling insights. I'm not criticizing how he wrestles. I'm criticizing how he carries himself. Okay, he is the 2022 version of The Rock. I just, and I think maybe that's even a bold statement. All right, let me take that back. CM Punk is on another level that I think is absolutely disgusting. All right, there is no, I don't care who you are. I know I have not been a wrestler from any standpoint. All right, no, not enough to compete on a week in and week out basis. I will respect him as an in-ring competitor. But when you come into an industry and you think you're entitled after leaving for a decade, and then you get this title and you just absolutely go off and think and still acclimate that you're, claim that you're 10 times better than everyone else, I think that's a bunch of bullcrap. Pardon my French, but that's absurd. I don't understand it. He has not done anything significant. He gets hurt. He got hurt. He won the title. He got hurt. He came back, won the title again, and ended up putting his nose in other people's business. Well, let me tell you something here. Just a year ago today, Kenny Omega was the number 1 of 2021. You know why? Because he held 8 different championships at one time. He went around to all of these promotions and held around 8 different championships. And you want to go pick at him for what? Because he's running a company something that you can never do. MJF has already proven to you that he has a better mic pipe bomb than you do. You even lost to MJF, and then you get rewarded a championship. Well, you had to have someone to help you. I think that is just completely absurd. I'm not a fan of CM Punk. Ever since he stepped foot back into the ring with AEW, he's absolutely, in my opinion, he does not even deserve to be in the top 50. He has not done nothing significant enough. He has not impacted any wrestling organization since arriving. It's been said, there's plenty of people out there feeling the same way. So to see him at number 3, I think is sickening. Put Seth Rollins there. Put Cody Rhodes out there. Put Eddie Kingston there. Put Wardlow there. He deserves that more. Put Trevor Murdoch there. Anyone but CM Punk. All right, let's cut to a break. Let's come back. Let's talk some Roman Reigns and SmackDown as we get ready for the weekend here. Thank you guys for tuning in to the throw-in. Take a break. Be back. Wrap up our show on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Alrighty, let's wrap up the last few minutes of this program. I want to give a shout out to StreamYard Studios again. Spreaker for providing StreamYard Studios, proud home of the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Create your podcast, YouTube videos, host virtual business meetings, conduct interviews. StreamYard.com. Try out the free version today. Spreaker audio platforms. Download us. Take us on the road. Throw in on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, and anywhere you get your audio streaming platforms. Also, like to give a big shout out to Epidemic Sound. Discover your world class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, check out epidemicsound.com. Today's music of our intros, come back from break, are given to you by Epidemic Sound. Golden Era is right now playing by Mary Riddle and by Canva. I know coming back this week, the commercial breaks was a little uptight. About trying to work on them this week, and we'll see how that works out as well. So, if you guys are looking to create your own videos, editing, and all that fun, good, wonderful stuff, check out Canva for more information. All right, we have made it to the back end of the week, the final segment of the week. Yay! And it's been kind of hard. Like I've mentioned to you, Monday was kind of new, not new, kind of relaunching, kind of getting back into the swing of things. And then we get hit hard with Damar Hamlin, and thank God that he is now doing well. He's starting to make a recovery after having cardiac arrest on the playing field Monday night, which led to the Bengals and Bills game being unloaded, or resumed. All right. Therefore, by default, the Bengals clinched the NFC North. They will go on to take the Ravens this weekend. Both teams have clinched the playoffs. And I've told you for the first hour of this program, main concern was, all right, let's talk about the safety heading into this week and the remainder of the season, because mentality and emotion, all the mental, emotional, and physical attributes has to be in check at every football game. And if you're not all the way there, there is a good chance of getting hurt. And the last thing I want to see is anyone receiving a significant injury this Sunday on the Bills side of things, because they're hosting the Patriots, and on the Bengals side of things because they're hosting the Ravens, because they're not mentally stable enough to kind of have them to kind of play that game because of everything that's happened. I'm sure everyone's taking the proper measures and precautions. So we got football there. And then, like I said, had Wednesday and Thursday. I was getting into the swing of things on Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday comes around, had to be absent from it. And that has really altered my, just, all right, Wednesday couldn't do it. Thursday couldn't do it. Jumped in today. Took a couple of minutes, couple segments to get back into the swing of things. And we're all good to go. Now it's the last few minutes of the segment. Give you our top 100 throughout this week. I don't know. Don't ask me how does PW. I would like to know how PW Insider really believes the top 100 2022, especially some of the moves that are being unfolded. So, a lot of questions about that, especially CM Punk being at number 3. I don't understand that. But with all that being said and done, Friday Night SmackDown is tonight. And the biggest thing coming out of SmackDown, yes, Charlotte Flair, all right, becoming SmackDown Women's Champion. Yes, congratulations to her. And I think it's a perfect time. I heard Teddy Long mention something about Charlotte, about Ronda Rousey not really being invested into the WWE. And you know what? You could take that for what it's worth. I really don't know. I mean, Ronda Rousey, at first, I did not like Ronda Rousey in the WWE, just like I didn't like Jake Paul in the WWE, just like I didn't, I wasn't a fan of when when Cain Velasquez went to the WWE. I mean, it is what it is. She's came in. I mean, it's like Jake Paul, who's just signed a MMA deal. All right, he's trying to be a versatile athlete. You know, done boxing, done wrestling. Now as an MMA. Ronda Rousey, she knew her career. You know, I mean, are you going to get after Bobby Lashley because he's in and out of the company? I mean, he sometimes is not all the way there. Now, you know, he's had years on him. He's had to leave, but he was an MMA talent before coming in. I mean, Ronda Rousey may not look like she's invested. And I don't know. Like I said, take it for what it's worth. I mean, as long as she's coming out there and she's giving us complete matches and actually entertaining us, and I feel like sometimes she doesn't quite entertain us as much as Charlotte Flair would have. You know, there is a lot to learn about the business, and I still do believe that she's been thrown into the company. You know, when it comes down to MMA, you put on some gloves and you start fighting, and it's anything goes at that point. All right, you learn how to fight, you learn how to wrestle, and all that stuff. There's a little bit more in the WWE that you have to learn about. You have to learn about selling, and you have to learn about giving, um, and making the audience believe that. And I think that's sometimes not everyone's specialty in the WWE, and I definitely believe that's not in Ronda Rousey's. But at the same time, Ronda is still there. She's still competing. But you know what? It's time for something new. Charlotte Flair kicks off the 2023 year. Hopefully, we see her tonight. She'll make a statement. And I would like to see exactly who is in line for Ronda Rousey and for Charlotte Flair. Now, for Ronda Rousey, I would love to see her to go back over to Raw. I would love her to see. I would love to see her continue a feud with maybe Becky Lynch at some point. I would also love to see Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, but at this point, I still think that it's always in the best interest that Ronda Rousey is being carried by somebody. See, that's also what we saw this year was that Ronda Rousey is being relied on being carried, either carrying the athlete or relying on being carried by athletes that are not yet ready to carry other athletes, such as Ronda. You know, normally when she's in a feud with Becky Lynch or with Charlotte Flair, who knows what they're doing. She's been in the industry long enough, who's at that standpoint where they're able to carry Ronda Rousey through the good and bad times. When you put Ronda Rousey up with Liv Morgan and Raquel Gonzalez, you kind of think Ronda Rousey's in there making her own, calling her own shots. Usually when Charlotte Flair's in there, she's calling the shots for Ronda. I really don't know the details about that, but that's kind of how it looks like. But the big thing coming out of this year, and I want to hit this point for Friday Night SmackDown, is that we are going to see Roman Reigns tonight on SmackDown. Now, you know, listen, I'm just going to get straight to the point. I don't think Roman Reigns needs to have that championship all year long. Matter of fact, I don't think he needs to have it anything past WrestleMania. Now, I know, listen, if you're going Dwayne Johnson at WrestleMania, get the titles off of him. For one, he does not need a main event both nights. None. No, I'm just sorry. I mean, he's already powerful. They're already talking how better he is than The Rock, and how he's better than he is than Stone Cold Steve Austin. Okay, and that may be true, but you don't need him to have the title. I think it's absolutely, especially if he's going to have a one-on-one match with Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Don't think that's needed. That point is that every day, okay, and I'm going to say this and I want to preach this until I'm dead, until that title comes off of him. The entire WWE roster is affected by how high they could build themselves every day that Roman Reigns holds that Universal Championship. Now, you know, I thought this would, you know, combining that title, you had to do one of two things. Either you had to have Roman Reigns be willing to compete each and every month on both Raw and SmackDown, which we know he's limited on Raw, and he's even limited on SmackDown. And you've had to have, or not and, it's an or you had to upsell and upbring both the United States Championship and the Intercontinental Championship. Now, they've made the efforts to do so. I mean, we saw that on Monday night with Seth Rollins and Austin Theory, but it's not up to the level where this title is the most prestigious title. There's a lot of rich history in both the U.S. and the IC title. So my big thing is Roman Reigns playing out how they're going to continue. It has to come to an end. I mean, this is not the soaring 90s and 80s where you could kind of enforce him do anything as much as playing. I mean, I don't know. I'm lost there. I guess I'm checked out for the weekend. All I'm saying is that Roman Reigns needs to drop the title soon. The Bloodline is still a great fraction. I think they reinvented themselves with Sami Zayn. Without Sami Zayn, without Solo Sikoa, the Bloodline is not the Bloodline. And we'll hear about if there's any consequences for Sami Zayn coming up tonight on SmackDown. But I am most certain that the Bloodline title run for Roman Reigns should come to an end. I'm getting a little worried that if they don't do it soon, I don't know. It could have been what could have been. It's all about the storytelling. Hey, we wrapped up the end of the week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the throw-in. I appreciate your guys' patience. I love doing this as much. I'll be back again Monday at 6 a.m. You guys can count on that. You guys have a great weekend. Watch plenty of sports. We'll come back Monday. We'll talk worlds of things. Get you guys ready for a playoff atmosphere. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have a great weekend. My name is Justin. You guys are listening to the throw-in right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.